Alright, so I'm going to do a quick video. This is for 97 ES300 Lexus. Some vehicles are comparable to the same ones. Again, this is for a 97 ES300. Some vehicles along the Toyota Camry line, from the years of 96 and up, some models may all be the same, but if you're installing an aftermarket radio and this is either your amp is blown out or you're trying to bypass the amp without having to buy a bypass kit that costs you a lot of money, this is the way to do it. It's not the suggested way, but if you're intuitive enough and know what you're doing with wiring, then you should be able to accomplish this here very easily. Now, the wiring coloring is a little bit confusing. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of the diagrams for the wiring coloring. So I'm going to break this down really simply. All right. So if you go down here, and this is radio removed, blower unit removed, AC air unit removed as well. Now, if you go down here, and this isn't exactly how it is going to be in every vehicle, but most of the time in this year of 97 for Lexus and some Toyota Camrys, this is where your amp is going to be. Now, there's two plugs here, and then there's another plug here. This plug here is mainly for CD changer and stuff like that. As you see, you have a 5-disc CD changer, and that is mainly what this is for. But you don't have to worry about that wiring connection, as well as this bigger wire connection. Your go-to connector is going to be this one right here, which holds two of your speaker wires. Yes, they do look like your negative or ground, your constant, and your ACC or positive ignition, but they are not. Don't let it confuse you. They're not. So these are three different speakers on one connector. These right here are your subwoofer. Now, doing this, you cannot connect your subwoofer unless you have another amp that you are connecting to. But if you're not too worried about that subwoofer, then you can either cut this and leave it taped up somewhere. If you plan on putting a subwoofer later or amp, then you can have that still. But if not, you can just cut this out. But again, these are three different speakers. This back one is your subwoofer. These are two different speakers. I believe these are your rears, but don't hold me to that. Like I said, the wiring diagram is kind of confusing when it comes to finding out which colors go where, because these colors change once they go to the actual head of the factory radio. At the factory radio, it's only one color, not two colors. So these are where you're going to want to splice in. Now, coming over here, again, here's a speaker wire that's black and yellow, another speaker wire which is purple and pink or violet, and then you have another one that is blue or light blue and green or teal, and then you have another one, and this is the one that I was telling you about, these two. This one right here, this red and white, teal and blue, pink or violet and purple, and black and yellow. That black and yellow is a speaker that we were talking about, and that red and white is also a speaker. Now, this is for this blue and green is for your front right, and there are other ones I can come on if you request it at a later time to break it down on which one exactly are these ones for. Now, to get to the other components that you're going to need in order to incorporate this into your aftermarket radio if you're trying to do this on your own, bypass the amp, or you're just not wanting to deal with going out and spending a whole crap load of money. Now, you will need a wire harness. You will need some sort of wire harness that connects to your aftermarket. It doesn't have to be all fancy and all that stuff, as long as you have a diagram of what's your constant, what's your ground, and what's your ignition, and then all your speakers. Everything else you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about if it has these, unless you're going for aftermarket and you're wanting to connect the amp and a sub. These you don't need. That's if you want your radio. All right? But these you will need. You will need at least a connector here. And then you just run that and splice that into your factory wiring. Now, this is to show you that this actually works. Let me get my key here. And I only have one speaker connected as of right now. Now, if it does make some type of... Oh, let me connect the radio for you. If it does sound like it's making some type of interference, it might be one of these speaker wires touching up against each other. But once I have all those connected, that interference will be gone. And this is just to show you. See, it's powering on, tuner's on. All right. Oh, something must have came disconnected here. Yep, see, there we go. See, this was just to show you guys that this actually works. Now, let me just, look, you see? This wire came disconnected here. Now, you see, once I put it together, this is where the music's coming from. That's the front right. That actually controls your door and your tweeter. These are integrated, so you have to make sure that you cut back at the amp connector